Well,
hi, Pavel.
guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, we can see you, and also the screen sharing looks very good. Have fun with the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. So, hello everyone. My name is Paweł Skrzypek, and I am a senior manager, product owner of manufacturing track and trace product, which basically means that together with my team, we manage manufacturing systems in GSK. And today, together with Gianluca Sala, so technical product manager in SeaVision, we are going to explain you why we believe doing serialization is just not enough these days. Why system users, companies like ours should take another step with their vendors and introduce additional processing of the data that they own to discover value for business. To support ourselves, I'm going to use this simple perspective of an everyday user of a serialization system. So Jyoti's task is to run the manufacturing line, which is not possible for markets that require product serialization in case there is no serial numbers available to print on the cartons. So we've performed an analysis and based on the data for the last 5 months, there have been situations when the products could not be manufactured because of unavailability of the serial numbers. This does not explain nor even touch the actual reason of the issues, but gives us a perspective of the situation that we have been tackling here. So on the chart, on the left-hand side, you can see the actual value in minutes, and then the percentage after the comma, which shows issue distribution. That was also a meaningful input to understanding the overall situation across the network. So overall duration was driven by the number of lines outside, obviously, but also other factors, such as by the fact that managing master data is a manual activity that currently has to be performed almost simultaneously across the serialization stack. Moreover, as shown on the chart in the middle, even our so-called critical products, so critical for patients, critical for our business, have been impacted due to this. Those figures are significant for sure. If we do the maths, 5,300 minutes is an equivalent of having one line stop for more than 3.5 days. And this does not directly convert to production hours lost, as these line stoppages could have been caught up by the site, but it's an OEE loss. Still, definitely a potential improvement worth a closer look. I'm sure you agree. You may have already spotted a potential gap. Yes, it's not a mistake that actually site A is missing on the charts, as there has been no record of issue like that for it, which was definitely an important observation for us. So we try to understand those differences, which was not easy due to the factor that I'm going to explain on the next slides too. But to start with, we ask for input from site A and work with our vendor to make other sites benefit from their ways of working, and also to make it easier to reproduce those ways of working across all the other sites. The second perspective is in fact my perspective, because it's my everyday pain, or rather a potential gain, that I would like to know what I and my team should focus on first. What is the biggest pain gain for the systems that I support? Because as part of my role, I'm accountable to identifying and running improvement initiatives. So we would like to be also obviously more proactive in our day-to-day job. You may recognize this. So on the screen, you can see the typical diagram for serialization solution, which is great to explain the interconnections across the stack, but does it really reflect the actual complexity of it? I think it does not. Obviously, from a perspective of a person managing serialization, it is more like this, at least our current setup in GSK. So multiple instances of level 3, 2, and 1 components do beg for automation. That's kind of obvious, but besides the initial setup, which would be considered a first candidate for automation, there's another difficulty that I would like you to focus on now, which is having data that is distributed and effectively divided across instances. So how to make decisions that are optimum for the whole network of systems. That's even more problematic situation in case of day-to-day operational issues, because immediately we ask ourselves, is that incident isolated, or maybe all the other sites could be potentially impacted? How do we know that? What led to the event? Which is definitely a complex question, especially for unknown performance problems, which could be driven by variety of factors, right? So how to set proper priorities that are optimum for the entire network? How to subtract the data that supports critical instances or products only? So what if there is a solution that answers to those multiple needs and gives customers, but also teams managing the system, a better insight into the backend data, and gives us tools to analyze patterns and even do proper baselining? So what if there is a way to improving the interaction with the data to better understand also business patterns? So we believe the answer is there, which is having easy to access live online dashboards, having configurable reports that allow effective baselining and improving measurement, having configurable reports that support retrospective analysis of trends and also specific situations. Gianluca, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Pavel. So yes, we understood that the common solution behind these two panes were absolutely providing real-time dashboards to our users. So at the end, the goal that we hit here is to provide to our customer several benefits for this solution. For sure, the solution is accessible anywhere at any time from a desktop device or mobile device. It's a web-based solution, and the data are segregated according to the user. So you can log in with your Active Directory credential, and according to your role, you can have access to the data from a single site, or as a supervisor for the corporate point of view, you can have access to all the sites. Of course, the benefit is that this monitoring solution has no impact on the existing environment, so there's no need of revalidate the systems or to ask the line to be shutting down for implementing this solution. And we provided in this way a read-only access to the Vision database. So as you can understand, there is a full compatibility with the solution that we have in GSK. Next. And if we talk about serial numbers, the very first thing you have to know is that there, as a lot of other vendors, we are based our serial number provisioning or replenishment on thresholds. So there are two information that we have into our system. That is the minimum quantity of serial numbers and the maximum quantity of serial numbers for a threshold. that is based on a GTIN, for example. And these two values represent the minimum value that we want to have into our database and the maximum value of free serial numbers that we want to have into our database. So with a very simple mechanism, as soon as the serial numbers that are available are going below the minimum threshold, the system automatically requests additional serial number from the corporate serial number provider. And to give to the supervisor a clear idea of which threshold are in shortfall, such as they are going out of serial number, we design this dashboard putting at the very top the threshold that must be taken into account because they are going out of serials. And we also show on the screen which time this threshold has been in shortfall. So as a supervisor, I can promptly understand the situation and act in association with the corporate serial number provider to understand what is the issue about this missing downloading of serial number. And as you can understand, there are clearly picture colors, understanding which are in shortfall, such as in red, which are in a stable situation, such as between minimum quantity and maximum quantity, that is the green one, or if we have a surplus of serial numbers, that we are in orange. Next. Moreover, we provide the dashboard understanding which are the recurrent errors that we may have for the replenishment part, but also for the batch uploading part. So we, with a pie chart, we represent which are the recurrent issues. So the supervisor can immediately understand which is the most frequent one and plan an intervention to fix the one that maybe cause more than 80% of the total issues. Moreover, we have dashboard to monitor the distribution over time, so we can understand also if there are some particular situations, for example, some particular days where the issues are even more recurrent than the other one. Next. With this dashboard, we try to push a little bit more and take more information from our system and from the current situation that we have deployed in GSK. So with GSK, we agreed a long time ago that the target quantity of the minimum quantity of serial number should be an equivalent of 72 hours of continuous production for a single product. But it's a number that is difficult to calculate. It may change over the years. And we put on the screen here, which is the minimum quantity of the product that we have currently in our threshold, the average consumption by time multiplied by 72 in this case, and the maximum consumption rate multiplied by 72 hours. And the supervisor sees on the screen which are the products that have the worst configuration according to this rule. And the supervisor can immediately check the situation, take the value from this chart and update the threshold accordingly. As we said, it's a number that may change from time to time. So a dashboard that puts in highlight the products that are in the worst configuration helps for sure the site to not go out of serial numbers. Next. And after that, we try brainstorming together, understanding what can we monitor, what can we understand from the current situation, from the current data that are actually stored into the level 3 system. For sure, we can have a benchmark from and compare different lines from the same site, but also different lines from several sites that maybe are managing the same product. And moreover, we can take statistical analysis from the recurrent issues and help our customer to plan maintenance or trainings or upgrade or other action that must be performed to improve the situation. Next. And here is an example. So we can compare the batch start time that we take to open a batch, and we can compare several lines from several sites. As you can understand, again, we design the dashboard from the supervisor point of view that for sure it wants to know if the average is under a critical value that we typically agree with the customer. And for sure, this average is quite low because it's 2 minutes just to download serial numbers and batch information to the line 2 systems and to start the actual production. But as you can see on the screen, there is one site that is, one line that is actually 10 times more the average. So for sure, an investigation must be taken to improve the situation from this specific line. And again, we have a green screen here, green rectangle on the screen because the actual average is quite below the critical threshold from the time point of view. But if the average moves close to the critical value or to the or higher than the critical value, the rectangle will move to orange or red. And here we have a detail of the production time loss by line. So this dashboard actually shows the time that we lose during the production for the errors that are occurring during the production. They can be several, of course, but if you sum all of them, you will have an increasing number that depends on the occurrences, but also how much time we lose from the time where the error occurs, then the time where we move back in production. And we can compare different lines from a single site, from several sites without any restriction. Once we know that maybe one line has specific troubles during the production, more than the average, we can focus into a single one and understanding which is the specific error that takes so much time loss. And in this example, we understood that for this specific product, we have just 3 occurrences, but actually the sum of the lost time is going up to 8 hours. That is quite a lot. And the supervisor can export these informations in several formats, and it can save to plan or to ask or to provide evidence to other supervisors asking a budget for a maintenance or a downtime for maintenance that must be taken into account. So generally speaking, there are a lot of keys behind the success of this specific project. First of all, we have a tight partnership with our customer, and this brings a lot of benefits, because starting from a single request, so a limited scope, we understood together that the tool that we created was easy to extend and will increase the number of dashboards in a very easy way, because now that the data are available into this separate monitoring system, there are a lot of new dashboards that can be created because the data now are available, and according to additional requirement, we can use this data, we can join the different tables to extract even more value from this data. We do believe that humans are still making the difference in the pharma, because we still need the expertise of the supervisor from the site, from the expert from the vendor part, to understand which are the action that we have to put in place to improve the situation. But starting from the monitoring of the threshold, and the dashboard that actually understands which would be the best value that you have to put into the threshold configuration, everybody can understand that we are very close to have a system that detects a situation that has a wrong configuration, and it would be able to adjust automatically. But from quality point of view, we still not reach that goal. But the feeling we have, and we discussed a lot with Pavel about this, we are very close to this point. And once we move to this point, we can extend this concept to a lot of application from line point of view, from system point of views, but also from level 3 point of view, as we shown in these dashboards. And another very important point is that once we put this system in place in the sites, there are a lot of supervisors that start using the tool and understands the power behind this tool, and start asking to have a meeting to discuss about a new dashboard, because they have a lot of new ideas. So new ideas bring new requirements, and new requirements bring new product, and new product brings innovation that triggers the supervisor asking more things and over and over and over. Now, the challenge we have with Pavel this here is to measure the improvements that we have from these sites after the application of the track and trace monitoring, because we understand there is a lot of power behind this tool. There are a lot of improvements that we have we can put in place, but the goal here is to measure the improvements to understand how we did for this project, and what can we do in the next future.
Yeah, so definitely C-Vision strategy and ideas do for future fit well to what GSK expects, which is no longer just about running serialization on the line, but also manufacturing, but also improving the manufacturing stability, enabling automation, and having data available in one place to make decisions about priorities. So one of the requirements for EUBI and EUView has been to actually impact of the deployment of those features, as Gianluca mentioned, which is done with no interruption in the manufacturing and supports the overall expected benefit of reducing line downtime. Also, getting simple open access to the backend processing enables proper planning, allows immediately responding to the situations of insufficient serial numbers to run the production, or even better, prevent it from happening. Because we are on this journey already, we are rolling out this better, more convenient way of checking whether there is a potential risk of low volume of serial numbers for manufacturing to what's been done by this site A in the past. In the long run, customers can run retrospective analysis of serial number consumptions and adjust the system setup to meet the demand, and also understand the most common pains, quick wins across the entire network. Moreover, the right relationship with customers is established, and we continue making sure that's maintained. Because, for example, we have already got additional dashboards requests from our customers about the additional ideas of reports for data that already is ready and available in that system. Scenarios used in this presentation are just really like low-hanging fruits. But with the cooperation between us and our customers, we believe a lot more will be achieved in the future when working ahead together. Thank you.
Pavel and Gianluca, thank you again for the presentation. So as you know, I also have a level 3, so I need to ask, so because we always have the discussion is, what else can a level 3 can collect? Because you're sitting with your level 3 right away between everything. Is there other information you maybe can collect and then display in dashboards beyond what we see now. So that's question number one. And what goes in there is there data, you know, we maybe can collect or can get from an MES system, but also will be beneficial for you, you know, to even get more information. So how is your view on that one?
So maybe if I start, so definitely we are in favor of any integrations, and that would mean that if as soon as there is the integration between the MS system and the serialization system, we gain that access to the additional data through this solution. I would also let Gianluca to respond if they have any plans to maybe expand the scope of connectivity beyond the serialization.
Yeah, for sure. We understood that the Pharma 4.0 world ask data to be very easy to exchange, but we understood that what we can take from the level 3, from the current level 3 we have, we have been able to pass to this monitoring solution. And you know that nowadays there are a lot of technology to exchange with the MES system, for example, but can be whatever system. And I just mentioned OPC UA or MQTT. So we have modules to exchange this data because we understand clearly that we can create a dashboard like this, but maybe there is another supervisor system that is able to add additional information to extend the scope. And instead of requesting data from this system to our system, it is possible to push our information to the other system. That's no problem. We, as also colleague from the previous presentation clearly explained, we have an interconnection. There is an interconnection between the system, and we have to be able to exchange information without any restriction. So right now, from the level 3 point of view, current one, we probably understand that we take all the information we can. Probably if we can push a little bit more is to detecting the specific system or cameras that are making the error or the most frequent issues. Nowadays, we just find that we can understand that there is the system on the line, but we cannot push the information about the specific device, camera, scanner, whatever, that is actually creating the error. We demand this to the supervisor on the site to go on the investigation.
I know you made a good point. That makes it also hard because I think one of the power is to compare sites sooner or later, say site A against site B, you know, and whatever. But then if there are changes in the hardware, in the setup, you know, I mean, then you argue what are the common denominator or not. But I'm clearly thinking, and I think we share the same thing like you guys, is that the power over L3 collecting data and comparing data, and maybe even in the future create digital twins for the future to say that is our best practice side, you know, and this configuration can work, and then rolling it out is definitely a big benefit. So I think, you know, they're absolutely on the right way, but then still comes the question is how to display the data and how to normalize the data. And I think there's an interest to see where you guys will be in 12 months to see how much could you do this and how much could you compare.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
With this, thank you again. You know, hopefully see you again in September. And thank you again for the nice presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank
and
you.
for the time.
Thank you, Alf. Thank you, Michael.